Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Aaron and Patricia. My name is Patricia.
My name is Aaron.
And today on the show, we have Animaniacs Season 2 announced to be released on November 5th. The trailer for the Uncharted movie has been released recently with this release date of February of 2022. Disney Television will be producing 31 original movies for Disney Channel, Disney Junior, and Disney Plus. Voice actors Christopher Ayres and Jack Angel have recently passed away. Alec Baldwin shoots a prop gun, killing one person and injuring another during a film set of Rust. There was a Netflix walkout after the Dave Chappelle special. The IATSE strike has settled down. A video game director has criticized Metroid Dread, saying that it has poor design. 343 shows features of Halo Infinite. Linda Simensky, the head of PBS Kids content, will be leaving the network for another. We'll be talking about that. The first 5 episodes of Amphibia Season 3 will be premiering on Disney Plus on November 3rd. And finally, a very popular preschool series is going to be getting a upcoming video game. You are listening to Aaron and Patricia on the 24th of October of 2021.
Yeah. Just about the Aaron Meta Show. Apologies for the delay on putting up the live stream on the Aaron Meta Show podcast feed. By the way, it's already up on Old School Lane, so you might as well watch it there anyway. So, yeah, but eventually we'll put it up on there. And then after that, we'll be making announcements about what we're going to be doing with the show. So that's on that side of things. Patricia, what's going on over at the Old School Lane podcast?
Well, as mentioned, just right now, you can check out Arun and Patricia last week's episode, the live stream of it on my YouTube channel. But in addition to that, then you can check out the importance of slice of life animation that I did on my YouTube channel. I did a presentation where I did do it for Offbeat Kiki's cartoon community PowerPoint night, but my audio was incredibly glitched up, and so I re-recorded it and I represented it on my own YouTube channel. So if you're interested in checking it out, then please do so.
Cool. Okay, so we start off with the first order of business?
Yes. So Animaniacs Season 2, the trailer has been out a couple of days, and the release will be on November 5th on Hulu. And yeah, it is what you expect for Animaniacs. It starts off with this Thundercats parody with Wacko being Snarf, and Dot being Shatara, and Yakko being Lionel. So it had this like a classic homage to a classic 80s cartoon, and then you have like all the crazy wacky shenanigans that you would see with Yakko, Wacko, and Dot and Pinky and the Brain. So yeah, the typical things that you would expect in Animaniacs.
Yeah, I mean, in regards to the trailer, I mean, like, let's face it, we know who the two main stars are. Basically, it's the Warner Brothers and the Warner sister and Pinky and the Brain. Like,
yes.
those are the big things going into this, and so I think we know who's going to get most of the attention. So, but mind you, just keep this in mind. Like, me and Patricia haven't watched Animaniacs as of yet, but we're only just kind of keeping up with some of the clips and things like that have been going on there. So, I mean, what new content they're going to bring out in regards to season 2, like any new characters, or like anything different that they've done prior. I mean, we're not too sure about at the moment, and they're not really been teasing it. So I guess we are just going to be going with. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like I don't know if we're just going to be going with the fact that like it's going to be like Cow and Chicken, where it's going to be like we'll get a Cow and Chicken cartoon, like start off with, and then after we'll get an I Am Weasel cartoon in the middle, and then after that we close out with a Cow and Chicken sketch. So I mean, like it might end up going into so that route. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure we're going to find out pretty much soon enough anyway. So.
Yeah, and I'm sure they probably did the same thing with season 1, in which like they reintroduced the Warner Brothers and Warner Sister and Pinky and the Brain into the mix. And also I think that they did introduce some new characters. We saw this secret agent, we saw this cop, we saw this really muscular looking guy on top of the water tower. So I don't know if they're going to be coming back into the season, but again, we only just saw with like clips of the trailer and speculation. So again, we have not seen season 1 of Animaniacs on Hulu because, well, apparently, according to when we try to watch it together, the UK doesn't have Animaniacs on Hulu yet. So this is why
you need to get I don't have it yet. I mean, like, let's just say I'm going to be investing in a particular VPN, and then eventually we'll probably get to it. So
yeah, exactly. So that's the reason why we haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah, but eventually we will do. And so I mean, everyone just stay tuned, and eventually we'll get to Animaniacs at some point in time. So yeah, but in regards to this, I mean, like, it seems exciting. I think, to have Animaniacs back on the back on Hulu again, and it's also not only that but so not only was season 2 also confirmed, I believe season 3 was also confirmed for
Yes, it was.
Animaniacs
Yes.
too. So I mean, so we still got something to look forward to in this regard, and I don't know, it is gonna be kind of weird, like, because that's the before you would get to the end of a season, then you'd be finding out if the season's gonna get renewed yet. But now we seem to be getting to the situation where we'll know about other seasons before even the first season, the season before it has even began. So
Right.
it's and even it goes to Molly McGee. Obviously, we got season 2 already, before even season
Yes.
1's been probably announced. So, but I mean, obviously, we know the situation with the Owl House, where we already know about season 2, but season 3 obviously been cut short. But that's a topic for another time. But in regards to the way Animaniacs is going right now, I think they're still knocking it out of the park from what I can see from people watching the show. So, I mean, there's no reason to believe that there's any future in doubt in regards to Animaniacs being a mainstay on Hulu right now. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that if things continue to go well, if the ratings and the views are climbing up, then I'm sure that we'll be getting a season 4 or season 5, or maybe more spin-offs like we did with Pinky and the Brain, and we did with Hysteria and Freakazoid, and I know people don't like Pinky, Elmira, and the Brain, but that's beside the point.
I highly doubt it. Keep in mind, Pinky, Elmira, and the Brain was basically done because the studio demanded it, not because the creators wanted to go through with it. So there's a massive difference there. I don't know. It's kind of weird because Hulu just seems to be kind of leaving Animaniacs to their own devices. It doesn't seem to be. And by the way, why would it be a situation where they would get involved in the production? Why? What for?
I have no idea.
Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, if they want to do Animaniacs the way that they feel they want to do Animaniacs and just leave the guys to it, I mean, it's a winning combination already. So I don't see a reason why they would need to get involved in any particular event. I mean, the experts are in control here, and they're in the driver's seat, and they're driving pretty well right now. So I would be a bit disappointed to hear that Hulu's somehow pulling strings behind the scenes, because if they are, you'll definitely tell as episodes go on. It's kind of the same way that we see with Disney shows. You can definitely tell at Disney in the driver's seat at some point, and then all of a sudden they get to the point where the creators get hold of the show, and then you full control of the show, and then you see it starts to get better as it goes along. I mean, we've seen that so many times. So yeah. I can't see why Hulu would then suddenly get involved in the show's production massively. I think it wouldn't necessarily be it wouldn't be necessary. I don't think.
I don't think so. I mean, I think that from what I've been hearing, for people who transition from doing animation on television to animation on streaming sites, that there's actually a lot more creative freedom. Craig McCracken, when he created, stuff such as the Powerpuff Girls, Foster's Home, and Wander Over Yonder. I guess that Wander Over Yonder is a good example where that show was cut very short. It only had 2 seasons. He had a 3rd season that he had an idea for, but because that Wander Over Yonder had very, very low ratings, that the show was canceled. And so when he moved over to doing Kid Cosmic on Netflix, he said, wow, I've never had this much creative freedom. I know exactly in terms of, where the story's going to go, and they seem to be really liking it. So yeah, I mean, it's only a matter of time in which we're going to see, some of our other favorite creators going over into these streaming sites.
Yeah, I do apologize, everybody. This chair has a mind of its own right now. So it's, I don't know. It's probably might get another chair at some point and probably use that instead. But okay. Yeah, here we go. Right. Okay. So Animaniacs season 2. We're looking forward to it. So yes. No worries here. Right. Let's move on to the trailer for the Uncharted movie, which has been released. So I mean, yes. I'm not very familiar with Uncharted. So and also I do apologize. I've not seen the trailer actually. So Patricia, I'll let you lead with this one.
Okay, so I am familiar with Uncharted because I played through the mainline video games, and I think I even played the PS Vita one a while ago, but again, not very memorable in terms of the Uncharted game. So for those who don't know, Uncharted is a video game franchise that is released by Sony, and it is produced by Naughty Dog, the same company who did the Crash Bandicoot games, Jak and Daxter, and The Last of Us. So it focuses on an explorer named Nathan Nathan Drake and his partner Victor Sullivan, aka Sully, and they go around looking for treasures that have been told in legends, and they try looking for it, and they go through these major adventures, solving puzzles and going through obstacles and fighting off against these crime lords and various people who want to be able to get the treasure. So every single game, there's always a different treasure. The first one was looking for El Dorado. The second one was looking for the treasure of Shahrazad. You have, every single one of them is based off of an actual legend. And so there were four main games in the series focusing on Nathan Drake. And of course, there was also the spin-off ones for like the handhelds. And it ended with Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. I mean, that's, the story is complete. And so along the way, you meet up with a reporter named Elena, and you get to, go along with adventures with her. You get to find out about Nathan Drake's ex-girlfriend, Chloe. And also in Uncharted 4, it goes more into Nathan's past, discussing about that he had a brother, Sam, and they did a lot of exploring together, looking for treasures. And then, Sam ended up in a bad situation, and so did Nathan. And so Nathan was able to get out of it, but Sam was not. And so, and in the movie trailer, now that we can finally get into this, it's a prequel. So it takes place even before the video game. So it focuses on a young Nathan Drake getting himself started and meeting up with a younger Victor Sullivan. So this movie has been pitched around for over 15 years. They wanted to make this movie ever since, I believe, Uncharted 2 became really, really popular. And so there was talks about like Mark Fillion being Nathan Drake. And, he would have been perfect for it because, he has that same charisma. If any of you guys have ever seen Firefly on Fox. And so as time went on and directors change and producers change and actors change, now we finally have the definitive version of Uncharted. And so Tom Holland is going to be playing a younger Nathan Drake, and Mark Wahlberg is going to be playing a younger Victor Sullivan. And so this is like their first adventure together, and they're looking for a treasure. And, they meet up with a bunch of crime leaders who want to be able to get the treasure too. So it does play off just like in the video games. And there's a lot of like little nuances to the video game. There's a moment where Nathan is, he gets knocked out of an airplane and he's like dangling through carts, which is a very iconic moment in Uncharted 3. And, there's a lot of talkings with like, various people who end up becoming double crossers and traitors and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, the trailer does look like what you would expect in an Uncharted movie. As for its execution, I'm not sure because we just literally saw this a few days ago. And
well, I mean,
Tom,
I would just look at the trailer and sorry for interrupting, but I mean, like, just looking at the trailer now, and I just say, like, I mean, Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, I think, is a winning combination. I think we can definitely tell you that right now, and at least on paper anyway. And just looking at some of like, I mean, I get some Mummy vibes from it. Like, not the some of the newer. I mean, you're talking about the 1997 Mummy that had. Not the Dwayne the Rock Johnson in it, but the first one that came in.
Oh, he was Brendan Fraser, yeah.
Brendan Fraser, yeah. So I get some vibes from that. So I mean, like, yeah, I mean, the setup is pretty good as well. I mean, there's some Bond-esque kind of like things going on for it as well. So I mean, like, there's a good movie here. I think potentially. So
potentially, I mean,
yeah, they could muck it up. I mean, like, I don't know. Since Sonic the Hedgehog, I get the feeling now that movie studios are going to start taking video game adaptations more seriously now.
The successes of not only Sonic the Hedgehog but also Detective Pikachu as well. So yeah, now to be fair, I have not seen Mortal Kombat yet, so I don't know how well that transitioned from.
Well, I've not seen Mortal Kombat either, but I think right now I would say that with at least with looking at Uncharted and the fact that like it's nearly 14, 15 years in the making. I mean, like, and keep this in mind, like it's not gone through production hell, so like let's put that aside. Just because it's had a long chance to try and like get off the ground doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to basically be bad in that sense. But let's have a look at looking at the style and looking at the way that they're presenting this. I think Uncharted fans have something to look forward to. I think.
Yeah, I think
when was the last time we keep this in mind as well? Like he's been pretty, Tom Holland's been pretty spot on in the Spider-Man movies, recently. Like I don't think he can basically wrong foot at this point. So I think he might have himself a winner here. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And we have seen younger versions of Nathan Drake in both Uncharted 3 and in Uncharted 4. With Uncharted 3, you get like a few cutscenes, and I think you even play as him in one of the levels. And in Uncharted 4, you start off in some parts at the beginning of the game, as well as flashbacks in the game, because you get to reunite with your brother Sam. Which, by the way, they mentioned Sam in the trailer, which is much earlier than anticipated, because we didn't know about Sam until Uncharted 4. I mean, we didn't even know that Nathan Drake had a brother. And
Well, I mean,
so,
keep this in mind. Like, this is going to be. I think one thing that I think they probably want to do, and is that they don't want to like copy the game like right out of the bat, because I think if they do that, I think they're going to end up just kind of like doing a retelling of like the same game that people have like played already. I think
yeah.
I think
And
movies.
I think that's why.
I think people who write these movies, I think, are going to want to tell their own, want to have their own spin on this. So I wouldn't be too surprised if like they take liberties when need be in this. If there's going to be a movie series of Uncharted, and if this does very well, I can't see why they wouldn't be. But I think in regards to how they would basically go about this, I think they all want to do their own telling. Not just rehash the video games again, because I think they know pretty well like rehashing the video games is not going to give anybody's any new meat to kind of chew on, really.
Yeah, I mean that's the same thing that happened with the Ratchet and Clank movie, in which you have like the cutscenes, and then you have the movie play out almost kind of verbatim to the game. With the only difference is that you play the game and you get to experience the levels, while as in the movie, you actually get to watch it. So I know that the movie did add in some additional things that weren't in the video game, and vice versa, but still, it's like for many people who saw it, it's like, well, I mean, it makes me want to play the game, but
Well, yeah,
as for like,
yeah, like, I think the problem with Ratchet and Clank is that there was no cinematic element to it. It was basically just the game. Like it wasn't. It didn't really give anybody any satisfaction or like seeing Ratchet and Clank like on a bigger screen. They might as well just like watched it on the game console,
yeah,
pretty much.
exactly. You might as well just like, sit down 8 hours on YouTube and just like watch the gameplay and watch the cutscene, which, I mean, you have to have a happy medium. You have to have one part in which like it's very close to the video game, but not too close. And at the other hand, you have a situation where you need to make it stand out on its own, but you don't want to make it stray too far away. Like, the Double Dragon movie had absolutely nothing to do with like, the video game. Like the whole point of the video game was like, it's about these two brothers, and one of the brothers' girlfriends gets kidnapped, and so they have to beat up a bunch of people. Not this whole post-apocalyptic looking weird world, and them fighting off and all that kind of stuff. It was just weird.
I guess that in their minds, the idea of your girlfriend being kidnapped is boring. So I like despite the fact that it's like a tried and tested kind of like even though I don't really rate the movie Taken, but with Liam Neeson, but I mean like it's still, for a lot of people still talk about that movie. In regards
Is
to
it based off of a video game?
no, it's not. It's but it is about a girl getting kidnapped, and then
Oh, gotcha.
mind you, the guy, the protagonist is his dad, not necessarily. Who's her dad, not necessarily
The boyfriend.
not the boyfriend. No, but I mean, like, girl gets kidnapped, and guy needs to go and save him. Is a tried and tested method of like doing some really good action movie stuff.
Not to mention television too, because that's the first season of 24, where Jack Bauer, his wife, and his daughter get kidnapped, and he has 24 hours to find them right before they get killed off. So there you go.
Yeah. Oh, hey, let's do this really easy, storytelling type that, so we can build some really great story off. Nah, let's make it convoluted and and wrong.
Oh, by the way, I guess going into like Owl House things, because of course we can't stop talking about it. In one of the clips of the movie trailer, Tati Gabrielle was in there, so she's going to be in the movie. And for those who don't know, she does, she plays as Prudence in Sabrina, and she is also in You, the Netflix series that's going on for its third season right now. And she's the voice of Willow in the Owl House, so yeah, she's going to be in the movie.
Cool. So, like, this is the thing. Like, I hope people like, that's who work in the Owl House. Like Zena Robinson, for example. He's a phenomenal talent. And like, I follow him on Twitter too. So shout out to him. But like people like that, they deserve to go places in this industry, because they put so much effort into what they do, and they can make you believe that character. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, like how believable is Hunter Hunter right now in regards to in the Owl House?
Very
and
believable.
also
Yeah, I
believable as
mean,
the
like
Golden Guard too.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, a lot of people compare him to Zuko in terms of like his conflict and trying to make his family member proud. So there you go.
Well, I mean, like he's not Zuko yet. I mean, like let's see how far he does turn around. I mean, in regards to that, like I don't know.
Sure,
I can see him going quite. I mean, quite going quite anti-heroish in some way. I don't know.
could be a
Like
possibility.
maybe possibly, yeah. But
Anyway, so
anyway,
the movie will be coming out on February of 2022. I mean, at least for now. I don't know if there's going to be any delays, but yeah. As for like the looks of the movie, it's definitely really promising. The one thing that really kind of disappointed me is that they didn't have the intro. Like, it would have been so great if they would have had like a callback to the intro of the opening theme song of Uncharted, because it's been in all of the video games. It's a very
I think
iconic
they're saving it
version.
for the actual movie. I
I
think like
hope they do.
that's the great thing about this as well, because if they do that, like they didn't spoil everything in the trailer. Like,
That's very true. You're right.
don't you get that now? Like a lot of movies now, it's like oh hey, let's put all the best bits that you really want to see in the movie, let's stick them in the trailer. It's like, why see the movie in that case? Like I don't understand that method of thinking. I really don't.
I don't know. I mean, it's like, I remember, I think I remember like when you were complaining about that, babe. And then I was like watching back like on old trailers. And there was this one trailer that I saw for Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. And it was like 30 seconds long. And it was just like, it was like the first parts of the movie with Indy in Shanghai, and he's just beating up the people. And it was like, that's it. That's the movie. It's like coming up,
Yeah, I mean,
next
like,
year we
that's all
have
you need to
Indiana
see.
Jones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, it's Indiana. I mean, obviously it's Indiana Jones, so obviously he's a
Yeah.
recognizable character. So like, you could have him sit there and just basically just whistle, and that could be the trailer. But like, everyone knows what they're in for when they see Indiana Jones. But I think for like newer movies or like even sequels, I would say for that matter, like if you need to, I've always been a big fan of the Pixar trailers. The Pixar
Hmm.
trailer, because they don't like, because again, I'm sure we talked about this tons and tons of times before, but Ratatouille, The Incredibles, all these other Pixar movies that have been done in the past, like they've always done original content for those particular movies.
Hmm.
Mind you, even some bits of the Frozen 2 trailer, for crying out loud. There was even bits in there that were just for the trailer and not for like the actual movie. So
Right.
like, that was kind of cool to watch.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so like even Frozen can do it. So like if all these movie studios have the budget to like put the movie together, you can't don't tell me that they don't have the budget to like say, okay, well we're going to do these bits for the trailer.
Hmm.
Like, and they're just going to be for the trailer, and then everything else is just going to be, that's the original content we're going to do for the trailer, and that's to get everybody hyped up for it, and then after that, we go into the movie, and that's the movie, and everyone's going to get excited about it.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, the moment that I mean, I'm going to see this movie, by the way, and I just want to like sit back and enjoy my snacks and just like sit back on like the recliner seats, and then the moment that the movie plays out, I just want to have like it open like dun 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 dun. It's
I
like
think
if that
surely
happens, I will.
they have to do it. They have to do
I
it.
will be
That
so
that's one
happy.
of the things I'm sure Uncharted fans are going to be walking into that movie theater to see that playing out
Exactly.
in
It's like
surround sound.
it's like if you're watching a Star Wars movie and it doesn't play off like the classic theme song. It's like it doesn't feel like Star Wars. So yes, they need to play the intro. I mean, even if it's not like at the beginning of the movie, maybe it'll be like at the end of the movie, at least somewhere. That way, it can actually be a nice little callback.
Hmm. Okay, moving on. So Disney Television made a pretty exciting announcement for the Disney Channel, and that is that they're going to be producing 31 original movies, and that will also include not just Disney Channel, it will also include Disney Junior, and it would also include Disney Plus as well. So,
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting because the last time that they did a Disney television original film was Fluffy Dogs. And that was supposed to be as a pilot for a possible TV series, as opposed to like, its own movie. So they haven't done this in 30 years. And so now they're not only going to be producing not one, not two, but over 30. And it's going to be for Disney Channel, Disney Junior, and Disney Plus Original. So I'm just going to read off what it says right here on
well,
DisneyTVAnimation.com.
but before we get into that, I mean, like, I want to talk about the concept just to
Sure.
start off with, because, like, I mean, because you remember, like, a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was probably even sooner than that, we talked about, Warner's Media and Cartoon Network also kind of doing sort of not exactly the same thing, but sort of the same thing, where they're possibly reviving what might be a concept of the What a Cartoon Show, and
Yes,
yeah.
we did talk about that.
Exactly, yeah. So I mean, now that Disney are doing it, I mean, like, it's kind of weird though, because like, there's so many talented artists out there. Like, why are they like, seem to be rescouting again? From the looks of it, like, because I can't imagine. I mean, there was a reason why Cartoon Network did the What a Cartoon Show, like, back in the time, because obviously, you only had, like, Hanna-Barbera, and, like, you had, like, only a certain handful of people who could basically carry, Cartoon Network, and also they were just relying on reruns pretty much of Looney Tunes and, like, various other stuff, back in
Yeah.
the time as well. And they were lacking at that time original content. So the What a Cartoon Show made a lot of sense, because then they could turn around to all these creators and say, oh, hey, come on here, we'll give you, a primetime channel to, which is dedicated to animation. And, once they did that, like, they pretty much dominated for another decade. And like,
Mhm.
they had this really great lineup that they could all pull from. So the only thing I could think of, and also what Warner Media doing it again, like, so they're looking to get some new people, also from different backgrounds as well. So like, we're going to get a pretty colorful palette of original content that's going to come from there. But I
Yes.
mean, I can only think that maybe Disney probably might have, like, got wind of that, maybe, and maybe they're going to do their own thing, where they're going to do like
Possibly.
31 original movies to do that over that. Either that, like, that's scenario A. Scenario B is that, they've seen what Pixar have done. And, you and I have watched the Pixar documentaries of, like, all the movies that, all the shorts that they produced as well.
Oh,
So maybe
yes.
Disney maybe turned around and said, oh, hey, let's do that. It works for Pixar, should work for us.
Yeah, and by the way, I mean, just recently they started posting up more of their Disney shorts, the stuff that they would put in, like, alongside with, like, Wreck-It Ralph and Zootopia and other things. So Paperman and Feast and their other shorts that they released like 10 years ago now are up on Disney Plus. So maybe coincidence? I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting that this is coming about, because, like, I mean, they're not short for talent, Disney, are they? At the minute, like, you got Dana Terrace, you got Alex Hirsch. I mean, you've got people at various, a raft of talent, and also on top of that, like, the people who are currently working under those people as well, who they themselves could potentially go off and do other shows.
Yeah,
Like,
don't forget, it's not just Disney Channel Animation, it's also Disney Plus and Disney Junior. Now,
exactly.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, because we're full grown adults, we don't know about the Disney Junior stuff. I mean, I've heard some pretty good reviews on Doc McStuffin, Sophia the First, and Elena of Alvador. I've heard some good things on that.
Yeah,
So
but then
again,
again, shouldn't that baffle you again? Is like, why are you scouting for other talent when you seem to have got a plethora of people who are capable of, like, carrying the channel at the moment? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know, like, I don't know if, I mean, because let's face it, Avalor is not like where SpongeBob is right now. I think we can all
I mean,
agree.
it's a
Like,
preschool show about a princess. So, I
well,
mean, it
like,
had like
it's not a show that, like, is in your face pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, pretty
no,
much.
no,
Not the way
no.
SpongeBob is, definitely not. And we can get it's aimed a bit lower than, the 6 to 11 demographic. Obviously, I'll take that, but it's like, it's not I not yet heard a bunch of parents who have, like, I've overheard saying, oh, I'm so sick of, like, this preschool show. Like, it's just like, it's the exact opposite. It's kind of like, oh, I wish we had, something like this.
Sure. I
Like,
mean, Mickey Mouse is still doing their preschool shows and they've been really, really successful at it. And, I've heard some other, talks about, like, all the stuff that they're doing for Disney Junior have been really, really excellent. Again, I have not seen it because, I'm not only I don't
no.
have the time for it, but, it's like, it's not catered to me, but, that doesn't mean I wouldn't be genuinely curious to check it out. But anyway, but going into
There
like,
is a comment I would make about that, but, like, I don't want to delve too much about our personal relationship right now. So.
fair enough, fair enough.
But I just, I mean, just going back on that, yeah, I think, again, I'm just surprised that we're going there, but, good on Disney for doing it, So, yeah. So, did you say we had a lineup of, like, what was being announced for these
Well,
movies?
okay, so from what I understand, I think that one of them that's in the works right now is called Schools for Sensitive Souls, which is a Disney channel, Disney TVA original musical animated film. I believe that has been worked on, but I haven't heard anything new about it yet. But
Why does the first thing that why does the first thing that comes to mind when I hear that is the Scooby Doo's Ghoul School? Do you remember that special?
I remember
Uh,
that special, yes.
yeah, and then they remade it, did they? I think at one point.
No, they didn't remade it. Cameos of the characters were featured in OKKO.
Oh, okay then. So yeah. Hmm.
Anyway, but so yeah, this was mentioned in Lightbox Expo, Ottawa Film Festival, and another festival where they were talking about like there's going to be a Mickey Mouse Halloween and Christmas special, and there's
Of
going to be
course.
some, of course. I mean, of course. What would you expect?
Oh,
Anyway,
Mickey Mouse in a Disney original movie? What is this?
what is this evil plan that you have and putting in the mouse?
It's like,
Okay.
the mascot of the character being in the company? What?
I know, right? What a concept. Anyway, but yeah, as for like anything else, no new information about like what's going to be in the works for any of these. But I mean, we don't even know if they're even going to be like, if any of these movies are going to be possible pilots for like TV shows. Like we mentioned before, Fluffy Dogs was going to be a case like that back in the 80s, but that never went
The
anywhere.
fact that they're making 31 of them, I could probably imagine like maybe I could probably see maybe 4, maybe 5 of them probably being future Disney shows. At the
Possibly.
most, because like I'm just thinking like because we had I mean we went through all this I think probably like this last week or 2 weeks ago, but most of the What a Cartoon shows that were made basically as pilots basically got picked up as shows like Johnny Bravo was a huge success, and Dexter's
Yeah.
Laboratory was a huge success, and Powerpuff
Yes.
Girls was a huge success, and so
Yes.
and we just named also what we had very
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Courage the Cowardly Dog
and Cow and Chicken.
and Cow and Chicken, and also the cartoon, like Larry and Steve also that went on to be Family Guy, which is
Yes.
like a huge thing on Adult Swim. So I mean, like this looking at all of this, I mean, like even off like one hand, we can say that Disney potentially could have some new shows out of doing all of this. So like it's good for them in their long-term future to compete on the animated front, that they kind of do something like this. I'm just quite surprised that I don't know if something's going on behind the scenes with with their current animators. Like I don't know if they're going to be saying themselves, good night, God bless, and they're going to leave and go off and do something else and go to another company or whatever.
Remember we talked last week about that there's new management in Disney Channel animation, remember?
Yeah, but I'm really surprised. I mean, unless they have their own vision for Disney, which would be quite interesting to say. But I mean, I would just say to them, well, hey, we've got a good plethora of talent here. Like, if you want to do original movies and see what's underneath, then great. But I mean, let's not waste Dana Terrace, and let's not waste Alex Hirsch, and let's not waste all these other people. Like,
exactly.
If you don't want the current plethora of stuff that's on there, get them to create something new. Like a
Yeah,
let's do that sci-fi show.
And that's not to say that everything is going to be original. I mean, I just read off Mickey Mouse Halloween and Mickey Mouse Christmas specials. I mean, unless of course it's based off of like the show, then it's nothing original. So maybe it's a possibility that maybe like at least maybe 1 or 2 of these films that they're working on in terms of like maybe Disney Channel or Disney Plus, maybe it is based off of these already existing shows.
Could be, but and then like anything original that they want to bring to the table, and if it's going to be really entertaining and it's going to get a lot of people on board streaming and get some subscriptions in, then go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So to say the least, I think we're excited.
Yeah, I'm genuinely curious to see what's going to be announced in the upcoming months.
Cool. Moving on. So, Patricia, you want to pay tribute to Christopher Ayres and Jack Angel, who have sadly passed away.
Okay, so yeah, Christopher Ayres. So for those who don't know who Christopher Ayres is, he was a very well-known voice actor and ADR script writer. You probably know him as the voice of Frieza in Dragon Ball Z Kai and Dragon Ball Super and the newer Dragon Ball movies, such as Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F and Dragon Ball Super Broly. And he was an amazing interpretation of Frieza. Like when I was a kid and I watched Dragon Ball Z on like UPN, and then when I was a teenager, it started airing on like Toonami. I mean, I know that this is a very popular statement about like, oh, the old voice of Frieza was terrible, and it's like, yeah, I mean, not to say anything bad about Linda Young, but her interpretation of Frieza was just like not very menacing. I didn't really care for the character, and so it wasn't until I saw Dragon Ball Z Kai where his interpretation of Frieza was just absolutely phenomenal, and he was the highlight in Resurrection F, and he also was known for doing Kei Kurono in Gantz. He was Prince Soma in Black Butler. He was Shingen Takeda in the Sengoku Bazara series. And, he's done a lot of other various roles. Unfortunately, around 2017, he was diagnosed with COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. And he needed a double lung transplant. And he had put up a Kickstarter or was it an Indiegogo page? I don't remember what it was, one of those things where, he was asking people to help him out because, he wasn't able to work because he was very sick. And so, unfortunately, as of a few days ago, his girlfriend, Crystal Laporte, had posted saying that he unfortunately passed away due to complications with COPD. And, he was surrounded by his family and his friends, and he was able to pass away peacefully. So, yeah, it is an absolute devastating announcement that this happened. So, yeah, rest in peace to Christopher Ayres, and major condolences to his friends and his family and his colleagues.
Yeah, my major condolences as well.
Okay, now the next person I want to talk about is Jack Angel. So Jack Angel, he was huge in terms of doing voiceover work around the 70s and 80s. You probably know him for being, let's see, he was King Zarkon in Voltron, Fleet of Doom. He was Ramjet in Astro Train and Transformers. He had done various roles over the years in movies and TV shows. So unfortunately, he passed away as well. I think he was going through, from what I understand, he was going through cancer, and he had just passed away at the age of 90. So he passed away a few days before he would have celebrated his 91st birthday. So I think he was sick for quite a while, but yeah, just hearing about the passing was absolutely very devastating. And once again, major condolences to his friends, family, and his colleagues.
And by the way, he worked all the way up to pretty much his death at this point, because he still got the Untitled Cars project that's currently going to be going for Disney. So he's going to be in that too.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and
yeah.
His last appearance was Care Bears Unlock the Magic. I mean, take that for what you will. And yeah, but it's also he was in World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth as well in the video game. So,
yeah, there you go.
He kept going all the way to the end. So yeah, credit to him.
Absolutely, credit to him.
Yeah. We're going to talk about another death now, and it's by the way, we started off with this being Alec Baldwin, but I think maybe we should probably pay tribute to the sad passing of Hala Hutchins, who has tragically lost her life in a accident on a movie studio set in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So the background is that they were shooting a Alec Baldwin movie called Rust. It's about a 13-year-old boy who has to fend for himself in the 1800s. They were filming this, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. And by the way, all of this right now is just reports that are coming out. We don't, as of this podcast, we don't know like the full picture of exactly what happened, but this is the news that we've been given. There was some sort of dispute that was going on the movie set. The people walked off because they were worried about safety conditions. Some discussion was probably had. We're not too sure what happened, but everyone did walk back on again and did continue on with the set. One person basically loaded the gun that they said was what they called a cold weapon or a prop gun. So
yeah, prop gun.
Yeah, it didn't basically have a live rounds in it, and usually what happens is that the munition that basically gets released from the gun is basically removed from the casing. So basically, what you get is a case that would basically fire but would not fire a projectile. Apparently, now this is what I've been told. Apparently, the adjustments weren't made, and so basically, the gun had live ammunition inside the weapon that was given to him. So Alec Baldwin was not aware of this.
No.
from what we understand. So Alec Baldwin went to shoot the set. He fired the gun, and unfortunately, he has sadly killed Hayla Hutchins by accident, and unfortunately injured another person. And
Yeah.
so, by the way, I want to
And
I want before we get into the whole situation. I do want to pay tribute to her a little bit. She was she had a lot of director of photography roles in various shorts that came in, and I think she's going to be once again another one of those wonderful people who we will basically talk about what ifs for a while. Like, we've gone through, this is something that we've been through on this podcast and also in the animation industry too many times of people, who have sadly lost their lives either by accident or have like become ill and then gone on. And we basically been saying, what if, like, for Jim Henson, for example, what if he didn't get sick at that time? What would he be doing today? And things like that. And we go into that. And sadly, here's another, group of fans of hers who will now once again be saying that same thing, like, what if this never happened and what would she have gone on to do?
Exactly.
And,
And even with Christopher Ayres, going back into it, he was only 56 when he died, and which is a tragedy, by the way. He was taken away way too soon, and he wasn't able to work as much because of his illness. And Chadwick Boseman is another example. He at the prime of his career with Black Panther and with playing as Jackie Robinson and various other roles, it's like he was taken away way too soon because he was going through cancer.
Oh, yeah, that was devastating for the Marvel community. Like, he was Black Panther.
Yes.
So, yeah. And so, here we are again, once again, with another, sad tragedy. And so that's as far as we know. And by the way, our condolences to her friends, her family, and her fans. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm sure she was beloved by very many people. But, I'm really saddened that. And by the way, I don't think there was any malicious intent. I think that was going on. I think, in regards to like, this isn't like some Murder She Wrote episode or anything like that.
Oh, geez, no.
It's not going to be something like that. I think this, from what I've read into this looks like it's been a tragic accident. It looks like this was, this gun was loaded with the wrong ammunition from what we can gather. And then, obviously we've got the situation that we have now. So, it's very, very sad. Alec Baldwin must be devastated.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people, saying that, what's going to happen now, what's going to happen with Alec Baldwin, because, accident, which it was, by the way, people are going to say now he's going to go through a lot of consequences.
Yeah, this changes people. This, what's happened here is very, Alec Baldwin may, be seeing in his sleep for a very long time. It's going to be something that's going to, be very horrendous on his mental health and very horrendous, just for his career going forward. He might stop doing action. Yeah. He might stop doing action movies because of this.
I don't know. That's another possibility. Maybe there'll be some people, who won't even hire him because, they think that,
that's stupid. Yeah. No,
I know it's stupid, but unfortunately, sometimes it does happen.
Yeah, but is Alec Baldwin at the end of the day? He's still a name regardless of whatever you may thought of what happened on that set. And what happened on there, I guarantee you I think is probably not his fault, at least in my opinion.
No, so far it has not been shown that this was malicious intent.
Exactly. He didn't mean to kill anybody.
No.
He was playing a role on a movie set. You get psyched up for that role, you go out and do it, and then that's the movie shot done, and then you go in your trailer, and then you kind of just settle down. It's I think the idea that he was he went out there to basically live his character and just be as reckless as he possibly could. I don't think would ever be in Alec Baldwin's in his thought anyway. And by the way, you hear all these people sending him hateful tweets and things like that. Keep this in mind, he was Donald Trump at one point, so he was. Of course, he's going to get that hate of from the pro-Trump crowd. But as far as we're concerned, he did. This is just my opinion. We're probably going to hear something different maybe later down the line. But I can't see how he was responsible. He was given a gun. He was told it was a prop. He fired it, and he thought nothing was going to come out the other side. And I guarantee you, probably hundreds, if probably not thousands of actors have probably been given prop guns and told that there's no live ammunition inside of them.
Yeah, and the sad thing is that this isn't the first time this has happened. You remember The Crow?
Oh, I remember The Crow. Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon Lee went through a similar fate in which he was shot by a prop gun, and he was killed on the spot. So unfortunately, this isn't the first time this has happened, and unfortunately, this isn't going to be the last, unless, of course, they really, really take into safety protocols.
I guarantee you that this is the fact that Alec Baldwin was handed a live weapon, and then I guarantee you that there's going to be like there's going to be change on an industrial scale. I
hope so.
If there isn't, then quite frankly, they are. It is ridiculous. There needs to be massive change after this. Like, there's, it might even be the fact that like they may even start saying, oh well, we're going to basically just give them like cap guns. Like they'll just make noises, but they won't fire anything. And like,
or maybe
if we need to make them look like they fire live ammunition, then we'll just do it in post and do it in CGI.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, they'll probably like make like these fake prop guns, and then they'll just CGI it so that nobody gets injured.
Yeah, they're probably going to get to the point where it's like, you know what, we're not even going to use like, blank rounds in them no more. We're just going to basically just say, okay, the guns fire, they make these noises, and then after that, we'll just edit it all in post. Like, don't tell me the technology is not there. It is.
Yes, it is there.
It is there. Like, we're in the realm of AI right now. I won't be so surprised, like somewhere down the line, like we won't even need actors anymore. Basically, we'll just make them out of Universal Man from Pixar and just have them act the movies.
I think that was one of the segments we talked about in Arun and Patricia, almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think
whole, there was the discussions about like the AI actors, and Tom Hanks was really concerned about it.
Not only that, like, I remember that actually. Yeah, like it might even be that, like, they might just feed movies ideas into a computer, and the computer will basically just generate it all.
I remember, what? I'm sorry. Now that you just said that, I remember the Batman script that somebody did where they made a computer watch like everything Batman related, and they made it write a script, and it was like the funniest, most wrong script I've ever heard or seen in my life.
You gotta start somewhere, babe. It's like that was a starting point. Let's just say not a great starting point, but I'm really bad at selling this, I just have to say. But I think eventually the technology will get better, and I think eventually they will build a computer that will make a really awesome Batman movie, or at least a script anyway. So we'll see.
I don't know, but I mean, in the meanwhile, I mean, we'll definitely get into this when we talk about the IATSE strike settling down, but they really need to start working on proper safety protocols and procedures.
Exactly. Like, I mean, this can't happen again. Like, this will, I think the amount of outcry, I think that has come out of this, and I think the amount of media attention that it's also got as well, and the fact that a lot of people are talking about it right now, I guarantee you there's going to be change. I think.
Okay, then.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Netflix walkout. I think to start off with before we get into the strike. Dave Chappelle has a special on Netflix, and he made a particular comment in regards to transgenderism and his stance on it. And basically, according to some people who have watched the special, by the way, I don't have a Netflix account right now, so I have not watched the special. But
I haven't watched it either.
From what I understand from some people are saying that this is probably like his second to worst performance.
Really?
But from what I've heard from other people who have watched it, I've not seen it. I've only seen a couple of clips myself.
Okay.
But, so he basically said, okay, well, J.K. Rowling has a particular view on women, and so he basically aligned himself with her. And obviously, you can probably imagine that's going to have a lot of fallout when you do that. And so obviously, we get the Netflix walkout. And but the thing that two things came out of that walkout. I mean, first of all, there was the guy who came up with the sign saying "I like Dave," and obviously he got his he basically got accosted by the people who walked out, and obviously he was just shoved to one side. And then the second thing was the list of demands that was made by the people who walked out. So they're effectively asking that Netflix, put in like trigger warnings on like content that might be considered like anti-trans. And they're also making various other demands about, representation in the workplace, and also that when before things get greenlighted, that has to go for like, a checkbox exercise of like, making sure that, transgender people aren't going to be like, abused in any particular way or anything like that. So you can probably imagine there was a lot of demands, which I think with some of them, I would say I somewhat sympathize, but then at the same time, like we were talking before about, the checkbox exercise and looking at the stats and the charts and like, the algorithms and things like that. So, coming up with like shows that are like just not going to offend anybody or like not going to just be completely right. with the audience. And we said that was a bad idea to begin with. So I feel a bit hypocritical turning around and saying, well, you got to go through all these exercises before we get to the point, where something can get green lighted. I mean, I would just say, like, put something out there and it's going to get the attention that it's going to get. And so I'm not here calling for Dave Chappelle to be like banned off Netflix and like, be launched into space and, we'll never see him again, in regards to that, just because he did a bad stand-up routine. I think, yes, there should be some sympathy, I think, and also some understanding of the, transgender people, I think, and also they should be made more inclusive in media and things like that and given representation. I'm not saying that shouldn't be a thing that shouldn't happen either. But at the same time, I think a fine line needs to be drawn by, like, let's never have any, offensive content out there ever again, to compare to, like, oh, hey, let's make everything so, boring and milquetoast that, no one's ever going to want to subscribe ever again. Like, it's either one is counterproductive, in my opinion. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to comedy, I know that there are people out there that talk about very controversial stuff, and they bring up, discussions of like politics or, certain people and stuff like that. And they bring like that particular commentary on it. I get it. And, it's subjective. Comedy is very subjective. You either find one comedian funny or you don't. And I think that if, you go too far into it, then yeah, people are going to be really offended with it.
I just going back on Dave Chappelle, like, I don't understand why he basically, decided to bring this all up, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, I get he's pretty old school in in the way that he thinks, and not to say that, because my view is that, I really don't care who people kind of like, identify as, really. Like, if they want to, if somebody wants to, change gender and wants to be known by certain pronouns, I'm not going to be a dick about it and say, no, I'm not going to acknowledge you like that. Of course, I'm going to acknowledge you however you want to be acknowledged. I'm a nice guy. But I just think that, I don't know, like, I just felt like the J.K. Rowling thing was just slowly being put to bed, and then all of a sudden this is all just kind of like brought it all back up again. Why? It's really, it's really tarnished Harry Potter's legacy at this point, I think, in regards to the way that's been. Like, don't get me wrong, like, there's still Harry Potter stuff out there, but, it's so sad that, you have Harry Potter fans constantly having to defend, which was, I believe, is the indefensible of J.K. Rowling, going out there and saying, these people who, someone who's changed gender is shouldn't be identified as a female, I don't understand that. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, all I know is that, some people were really offended with this whole statement. And again, I have not seen it, so I don't know what the context is. But yeah, the fact that a lot of people who worked on Netflix had walked out because of it is like, oof.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like, mind you, I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know what the massive, conclusion of this is going to be, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. So, yeah. But, I tell you what, I'm actually trying to find. By the way, Dave Chappelle, I'm sure himself will probably, say that he's not offensive in any way, or like, well, I don't know, like, I'm pretty sure that he didn't mean to, any offense by what he said. He basically was doing a stand-up routine. But
sure.
I think I'm trying to find if has Dave Chappelle actually commented on like the stuff that he. Basically,
I mean, I think that
from his special.
I think that some people have. I think there was one person who was kind of disappointed with Dave Chappelle, saying they were a huge fan of the show and their other stand-up. When they saw this, they were like really disappointed with it.
Well,
I think
actually,
even like
it was certain clips that I watched, like they panned through the crowd when he was doing like the whole like thing with J.K. Rowling, and there was like some people who were laughing and clapping, and there were some people in the audience who were just kind of sitting there stone-faced, like they couldn't believe what they just heard.
Wow.
Like, yeah, so like, yeah, again, not his greatest, I think so. Tell you actually, I'm just going to go on the, I'll tell you exactly what he said. I think probably just give some more context to this. So, he says, he said, I'm trying to have a look for the exact quote.
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, he said, in the closer, which the premiere is on Tuesday on Netflix, Chappelle declared himself a trans exclusionary radical feminist, or as they call it, a TERF, alongside Rowling. They said they canceled J.K. Rowling. My God, by the way, J.K. Rowling has not been cancelled. Like, it's just like, this is the whole thing. You remember the whole thing with Jon Stewart? I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
that with from the New Yorker when he said, look, there's, this whole cancel culture thing, the right never shut up about it. And so, like, what's happening is that the floor of opinions has been democratized online and has been democratized through, the expansion of media. So a lot of people, you say something, and then a lot of other people now are having their say about what you just said. And so, it just seems to be, and I agree with Jon Stewart on this, it just seems to be that people just want to talk about things and not have face any repercussions for them.
Right.
Basically. So it just seems to be the way I get. So he said, they cancelled J.K. Rowling. My God. Effectively, she said gender was fact. The trans community got mad as shit. They started calling her a TERF. And he says, I'm Team TERF, the comedian said in the special, which was the most watched pieces of content on the streaming site. According to that. So, so again, I'm not gonna get into an argument with Jay Chappelle. Like, if he wants to have that view, then he's most welcome to it. But I guarantee you, I'm sure there's a lot of people in the trans community who are gonna have a massive say about that. And they did. They walked out.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So
well, I don't know. I'm again, I need to watch it so I can be understanding of the full context, but yeah, I just can't believe that actually happened.
My disappointment taken out of this that's probably that's like his second to worst appearance on stage, from what I understand. So
jeez,
apparently I've been looking at some reviews. Apparently they're not being kind to Joe Chappelle by any stretch of the imagination. So where he goes from here, I have no idea. So
all right,
okay.
Sure.
Right. Let's talk about let's talk about this strike. The IATSE, it's like it's not a name that goes off the tongue.
I know. It stands for International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees. So that's what it stands for.
IATSE. So they were going to go on. They were threatening to strike, but now that's apparently been averted. So what were the conditions that were met to avert the strike?
All right, so I have the deadline article up right now. So let me just see if I can find it. Let's see. According to sources, Saturday morning was spent largely communicating with the individual locals on points specific to them. One of the biggest was raising minimum wage for local 871 members. They include writers, assistants, and various coordinators from $16 an hour to $23.50 next year, $24.50 in 2023, and $26 an hour in 2024. Other sources argue that the tentative agreement was not reached until midday Saturday. In the end, a contract was approved by all 13 West Coast locals, and announcements was made in early afternoon, more than a month after the previous IATSE deal had expired on September 10th. Let's see if there's anything else. Contrary to popular belief, talks did not go down to the wire because the companies underestimated IATSE's willingness to follow through on the threat to strike because the union had never done so in the past. Instead, it was the unusual course of negotiations that led to the drama, sources say. In every union negotiation, the other party does not ask on the first day what is asked on the final day. The two sides traditionally trade things until they reach a compromise. Let's see. Observers believe that the stance in at least part was due to the hardship brought by the pandemic over the past 18 months, with the IATSE members among the hardest, as many are hourly employees with little financial protections who struggled when production shut down for months. The pandemic also made re-examine their work balance, making grueling long shifts with very little turnout no longer acceptable. That change in perspective helped turn sufficient rest time into main cause members rallied around. So yeah, basically like really long work days. With small exceptions, the new basic agreement now guarantees 54 hours of rest with those who are working 5 consecutive days and 32 hours of rest when you work for 6 days, which was less, by the way. So yeah, long hours of working with very little time to rest, not a lot of money made, and very little benefits. That's what they were fighting against.
To be honest with you, I sympathize with anybody who wants a wage rise right now, because wages are not keeping up with inflation. They're just not. And so, right now, a lot of people, here in the UK, and I think here also across the United States, are pretty much getting a pay cut. at this point. Like they're not going, their wages are not rising anymore. They are stagnating, and they are even going down. And the pandemic has only just made this worse. And so, I don't blame anybody for getting a union together and saying, hey, we want better pay and conditions, because like it's just going to be a situation where it ends up becoming unsustainable, and you can't feed your family on chicken feed. At the end of the day, like you're going to end up either falling out of the industry, or you're going to end up going off and doing something else. And so I think, and also a lot of people are very passionate about their work and don't want to go elsewhere. But I think so. I think the studios, in regards to this, I think they probably did the right thing. In regards to agreeing to these conditions, and also not only that, like it's going to be also reviewed on a regular basis, so it's going to keep going up. So which is
Yes.
great. So yeah, but I think a lot of companies need to have a look at what's going on right now and to say to themselves, can we afford to keep employees on the wages that we have now? Because I mean, how do we know that they're not going to become as productive as they are if prices still keep going high and they can't afford to pay the bills? Like you might not have those employees anymore. You might end up having to fork out for something else. And so what are you going to do then? So I think this isn't something that's just affecting the Hollywood right now, or like wherever they happen to might to be. This is affecting everybody across the world. And so it's and if they aren't going to get what they need to just to keep a sustainable lifestyle, then you might as well forget it. Like they're not going to be your employees anymore, or they're going to go off and do something else, or they're not going to
Right.
turn up to work at all. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially since, I go to school and I know a lot of film and television majors who want to go into the industry. I mean, the fact that they have this to go on in the future in terms of like long work hours and very little pay and very little benefits, such as like healthcare or safety protocols, like what we just saw with just what we talked about a few moments ago. I mean, this stuff is serious. So
Yeah.
the fact that they decided to go on strike because they want to be treated more properly, it's like, yeah, they have every right to.
Yeah. Oh, treat it like a human being. What an original concept. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, well, the disaster averted then, at least for now.
Yeah,
So,
for now at least.
okay, so David Jaffe, who criticized Metroid Dread for saying that it has poor design. Do you want to elaborate on this, Patricia? Because as far as I'm aware, it's getting good reviews.
Okay, so for those who don't know, David Jaffe, he worked as a director on God of War and Twisted Metal, and he was doing a live stream of Metroid Dread, and he was stuck on a puzzle. He was stuck on a puzzle for a very long time, and then he finally was able to solve the puzzle. And then during that discussion, he was saying that Metroid Dread, and I quote what he said: the game has a shit design system, and he refers to people are referring to it as a sacred cow. And then he stated on, I think he posted this on Twitter, saying that if this design is acceptable for you, then you are a fucking moron. And then he talked about like the developers of Kenna Bridge of Spirits and Returnal are making games too difficult, and he doesn't like the movement, saying Kenna, Metroid, Returnal, all leading the march towards super challenging games. Maybe it's NES generation coming to their own as designers, but I fucking hate this shit. And it's not an age thing. I never liked it, but it wasn't so rampant. It's like devs want to push players away. And so yeah, this is basically him struggling to find a broken platform that he had been like walking around over the past 10 minutes trying to like shoot from it, even though it clearly says in the beginning of the game when you play as Samus that if you are stuck at a particular spot, then you can be able to shoot at the blocks because they are destructible and they are ways to search around for the environment. And somebody even pointed this out on Twitter. Somebody named Lord Do Plays says, to emphasize my point, here's the screenshot. Some destructible blocks are hidden. Try shooting your surroundings. First minutes of gameplay, not including the intro, and immediately after the missile block tutorial, it spells it out for you plain as day. And he even put out a picture as proof. So yeah, so David Jaffe hates the design of Metroid Dread, saying it's too difficult. And so there's people out there saying, you don't know what you're talking about. It's very easy. And then there's some people who agree with it. So I mean, yeah, what do you think of this, Aaron?
Games have a challenge. At the end of the day, like it's. I was looking through some of the comments here, and he says. Okay, Dave, I've redesigned the screen of the game to be more of your liking, a lot more player friendly, and get rid of those nasty, unclear stuff. Let me know what you think. And basically, they just drawing, I don't know, like a really cheap drawing of like Metroid Jet with like a big red rectangle
Oh
underneath him.
no.
Oh, good grief! Like, mind you, there were some people who were questioning how long David Jaffe was stuck in that room for.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I think he said that he was like stuck there for at least a good. Let's see. He said it was good there, stuck there for 10 minutes. On Twitter, he said spent hours trying to shoot enemies above/below because of course you can do that, because why would enemies be there if games didn't want you to guide your eye to attack there to explode blocks? But for these some magic reason they don't break. Wish I was hard enough to understand why. As for why I harp on this is because I value honest discourse and discussion, and while I 100% am not good at most video games, I do understand game design. And so when I have gamers not applying logic but nostalgia/emotion to design discussions, that's hard to not push back on.
one person says, "Granted here, a literal child, poorly you, who's one of the, who's like a child streamer, has said he was able to complete Super Metroid, and Dave, well, meanwhile, David Jaffe can't even shoot up."
Oh no.
He's getting roasted in some of these comments. I have to say, I'm just looking through Twitter right now. Like, one person says this game is easy, literally for toddlers. F David Jaffe. Okay, so
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's some people who are saying the same thing. One person says, actually, it's super great game design. They don't tell you what you can do, they show you. The first breakable blocks are very obvious. So after you can break the blocks. Aha. And let's see. There's some other ones who pretty much say similar things, but yeah, basically they're just
also,
saying.
yeah, a lot of these comments, at least I'm looking here, are pretty negative. One person saying, "You're crying that dread is hard because you couldn't figure out a puzzle. That's on you." Like, yeah. So,
I mean,
unfortunately,
to be fair, here's the thing. To be fair, I do understand that some people who are definitely not familiar with Metroidvania games, that they would find it really, really difficult. That you need to be able to like break certain puzzles, and you need to be able to like grab a power up that's not available until much later to go over to a certain room. I get it. Maybe it's not to your calling. Maybe you're more into linear games, or maybe you're into more other games that are mission based, because with Metroid games you need to be able to explore in order for you to know what to do, as opposed to like going over to like one specific place and saying like, oh, you go here, even though I think in Metroid Dread you do, because Adam tells you like what you need to do and where you need to go. So it is sprinkled here and there, just like in Fusion. But for the most part, in a lot of these Metroidvania games, you do explore in a vast world, and you have the environment to show you what you need to do and where you need to go.
I kind
So
of feel awkward calling it Metroidvania because it was kind of like Metroid to begin with, pretty much.
Well, the reason why they call it Metroidvania was because when Castlevania Symphony of the Night came out, it pretty much popularized that particular format of gameplay. So they call it Metroidvania for that particular reason, because you have Metroid and then you have the Castlevania game, starting off with like Symphony of the Night, and then it going over into like Aria of Sorrow, Dawn of Sorrow, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that's why they call it that, for a reason, because even though that the Metroid series was the one that kind of like started that, Castlevania Symphony and I made it more mainstream for a bigger audience.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to note out, and I don't expect anyone to know about Preston or nothing, but the women's team won 7-0 today. So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So, yeah, the women can do what the men can't, apparently. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, good for them. Congratulations.
Yeah, maybe we should, whoever's managing right now, I think we probably have them as the manager, maybe. So, right, moving on. 343 shows features for Halo Infinite. I believe I brought this up, but now
Yes, you did.
I'm having brain fog here because I can't remember exactly what it was that they were bringing up. Oh yeah, I remember now. So Halo Infinite is going to get ray tracing, and thanks to Microsoft, also an AMD partnership, so they're going to be getting that. And also they're going to be showing off some various other things that are going to be in the PC version. That's
Okay.
going to be there. So I'm just do apologize everybody. I'm just learning. I had to read this before, and now just it's just blanks on me. So just to name a few of the features announced, there will be a minimum FPS value, which the game will be scaled down to meet extensive ultra-wide support, triple key bindings, low latency between mouse clicks and action, performance scalability from the lowest end to the highest end PCs, and cross-save between console and PC. So I was expecting this anyway, because Gears of War at the minute is cross-platform for PC and Xbox as well. So, given Halo Infinite will be available on multiple storefronts, 343 is stressed out to work hard on to ensure interoperability between Steam, Xbox Game Pass, and Microsoft Store players. So, even if you buy it on Steam, you should still be able to play like all the other players on Game Pass and also on the Microsoft Store as well, and also Xbox too. So,
okay, well, sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. So, and also AMD has recently announced there's going to be a Halo Infinite Radeon RX 6900 graphics card as well. So,
oh, wow.
I mean, like, it looks pretty, but to be honest with you, I don't like this design of like, oh, hey, here's this clear case, and you can see all the the bits and bobs inside of it. It's kind of like it's the reason they did that to begin with was because they made it they made like the Game Boy Color that has like the clear things in it, like you can see like all the electronics inside it and things like that, like all the clear ones version. The reason they have that design is because they were built for the prison system in the United States. The reason why you can see through them is because it's to stop you from like carrying contraband and like other like weapons and things like that inside your electronic devices. That's where the design came from. So it's like it's like I don't particularly like things like that. It just reminds me of that. But hey, it looks pretty cool for a graphics card, but it's going to be living inside your machine, and so unless you got like the same design motherboard and hard drive and stuff like that, I don't see how unique it's really going to stick out, really, in my opinion. But
okay,
that's just me. So
all right then,
cool. Well, we got through that pretty quickly.
Well, I mean, to be fair, babe, I'm sorry, but I don't know the Halo games outside of like playing in multiplayer when I was in college when we had video game tournaments.
I'm jealous of you, babe. You can talk for a wonderful amount of time, whereas I just I'm too to the point. Sometimes I feel.
I mean that that's I guess that's what balances us out. I talk too much, and you talk just. At all. No. Well, I mean, if I know something, I can talk about it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Well,
and I can listen for hours and hours and hours. So
thanks. I mean, that makes me happy.
Yeah. Gee, I was gonna think we're a couple or something.
A couple of what?
A couple of what? Yeah. Yeah, doing their geeky podcast in their living rooms. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. So, Linda Simensky, head of the PBS Kids content, leaves for the network to be the head of animation for Duolingo Studios. So
this is an interesting one, by the way.
Yeah. What's prompted this?
Okay, so I have the article up where, she mentioned this announcement. So for those who don't know, Linda Simensky was a production manager for various companies. She worked on animation for Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. So around the 90s, she was responsible for being like an executive for, various shows on Nickelodeon, like Rocko's Modern Life and, a lot of the other Nicktoons. And then around, I believe around the late 90s, she left to go to Cartoon Network, where she, was the producer, and she also helped with like development of shows such as like pretty much like the cartoons like Dexter's Lab, Samurai Jack, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Codename Kids Next Door, etc. Then around 2003, she left to be the head of animation for PBS, and she was the head of that for almost 20 years. And as you know, from like, if we remember, like a lot of the podcasts that we've done in terms of like, she helped with head of animation, and, she helped a lot with like helping with Craig Bartlett do a lot of his stuff, such as Dinosaur Train and Ready, Jet, Go. I mean, if we've, listened to the episodes that Aaron here has talked about in terms of that. So yeah, recently she had just announced that she is going to be she already left on October 1st. And she is going to be the head of animation and scripted content for Duolingo Studios. And for those who don't know, Duolingo is a publicly traded language learning company headquartered in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And it says right here, Simensky will report to Timothy Shea, Duolingo's VP Studios and Content, saying that he's trying to make Sesame Street for grown-ups. And it says right here, through her time, Linda has collaborated with renowned producers and developed award-winning hit shows that impacted the lives of millions of children. Her efforts to transform the PBS Kids lineup over the past few years has helped to position public media as the standard bearer for excellence in children's media. We're grateful that of all the work that she has done, and we wish her well as she begins her next chapter. So I don't know exactly why she decided to leave PBS and go over to Duolingo, but yeah, we wish her the best of luck.
By the way, Duolingo Studios is part of Nexus Studios, and they do a lot of good work, I have to say. So, like, they did one of Billie Eilish's music videos. They also did the BBC Tokyo Olympics, even though I think Nintendo should have done it, but that's just me. You know, even though they actually, I forgot actually they were offered to do it, but then they turned it down. So, yeah, but that's just again. So, also they've done stuff for Cox Communications. They've also done stuff in Mexico, and so yeah, like you look at. You look at Nexus Studios, so you know they've got some good stuff going on right now. So,
yeah, and also it also helps for other things. Like it also can be used as a learning app for digital language proficiency exams for people who want to be able to learn various languages. And also from if you remember, like last year when the Duolingo logo, by the way, which their mascot is an owl, and then there was somebody who actually draw the Duolingo. I don't know what the mascot's called, so I apologize. But they drew.
Was that the one for like when they put in with like the Albert for the Owl House?
Yes, that's the one. They put him with Albert and Hootie. It's like, hey, we have.
And then Dana tells that it's canon.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. Like
anyway,
because who does the? I mean, I'm trying to remember who does the language translations for the Owl House. Like, is Duolingo Studios involved in that too? Like,
I don't know actually. I mean, I know that they do like translations for like helping people to speak and like for schools, but do they do it for animated shows? I don't know.
Because I'm trying to remember, because I remember like they did like, you know, a lot of studios now do like go for agencies to like, you know, do like, you know, do like the different like voice actors and actresses for like, if you remember like you know, they definitely didn't like get Craig's, you know, view on the Spanish version of the Day Out of the Jungle movie, and everyone doesn't like the new Helga. Yeah, I remember that. So like, I think a lot of studios now are definitely going through like, oh, we'll just hand it over to, you know, some studio who like, you know, does like these has these voice actors and voice actresses, and we'll get them just to do it. So I think.
I mean, I think that Disney Channel does have different divisions for, you know, when they translate different languages. But as for like if Duolingo's a part of it, I have no idea.
No, I have no idea. But like, I don't know. It seems to be kind of like a interesting thing for like Dana just to kind of comment on, saying, yeah, this is kind of like, you know, Albert and like, you know, the Duolingo owl, like, you know, just like best buds and things like that. You know, like they. You know, they go to the bar and like, you know, they go and like, you know, drink, you know, whatever.
Owl blood.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever owls do. Fry owls? I don't know, but
yeah, they fly up in the air, they catch voles, they hang out in trees and look at the moon. I don't know. They do things. Sure.
You know, it's funny. I didn't know what a vole was before an owl caught one. You know, like, like, oh, that's a vole. Oh, hey, looks pretty dead. So,
jeez. Anyway, but yeah, best of luck to Linda Simensky, and I hope that, you know, she does great things over at Duolingo.
Yeah, you know, like any friend of Craig Bartlett is a friend of mine. So
same here.
Yeah. Okay, some excitement for the Amphibia fans, but maybe frustration for us. Like the first 5 episodes of Amphibia season 3 will premiere on Disney Plus on October 3rd. And the reason I say frustration for me and Patricia is because we haven't seen all the episodes yet.
I know. It's like, oh geez, it's like, you know, finally we get to be able to like sit down and probably catch up with it. But then it's like, you know, here it is. But
yeah,
you know, good for the fans. You know, good for the fans that they can finally be able to not wait like for months upon months for it to come out.
Like,
so
you know, we've been saying this in the past. They should be releasing on Disney Plus to begin with. You know, like,
yes,
I'm pretty sure they shut down all the Disney channels across the world for a reason. You know, like, I mean, why are they making everyone else wait out? And they keep saying, oh, hey, here's all the stuff on the Disney Channel, which has still got open in the United States for some odd reason. You know, like, I don't know, it's just because, you know, the United States division just needs the money for the advertising. I have no idea if they even have, you know, if they even have advertisements on the, I don't watch the US Disney Channel, so I don't know what's on there. But in regards to in regards to like Amphibia, like again, it's another show that's beloved by an adult audience, and they should be putting it on, make it easy for them to access instead of having to like wait, like on the Saturday mornings for like Disney channels to like pop it up.
Yeah, I mean, I know, and I know
now.
I know what some people are gonna say, but Aaron and Patricia, you can watch it on Disney Now, like about a few days after it airs. It's like not everybody has Disney Now.
Yeah, and if you have like a cable subscription to get one.
Exactly. And we talked about how people are leaving cable subscriptions because they've gotten too expensive. And there are so many amazing things that are on streaming services that people don't see the reason on why they keep their cable providers.
Exactly. Like, for a lot of people, they don't see a reason to keep their cable provider. They're just going to go to Netflix, or they're just going to go to that. By the way, and this is one way that Disney Plus is probably going to have like a downside if they decide, not to, if they keep doing this to fans. Like Netflix, you just turn around and say, oh, hey, you want the latest stuff now? We'll have it right there, we'll even have whole box sets for you and everything like that. When we have the new shows come out, everyone will just flock over there and go watch it. How will Disney Plus compete with that if if they decide, oh hey, we're sick and tired of waiting around for Disney to drag its feet and put stuff on their streaming service.
Right. So yes, I'm really, really happy that, for the Amphibia fans who have been watching the show and have been wanting to, see the shows coming out on Disney Plus much sooner. I'm happy. But, for Aaron and I, it's like, oh, now we haven't even caught up with like episode 1 yet. So now we need to watch it.
Seeing the clips and like people like, pointing stuff out in the show, and like just having to just come across it and then realize, oh, well, okay, guys, I'll probably get, once I've got through like the hours upon hours of watching, the first season and the second season, I'm sure we'll figure out what all that means in season 3.
Yeah, we decided at that point that we had to watch it separately because we couldn't sit down and like dedicate that much time to it, and we did promise that.
I don't even probably know what's going on with Marcy at the minute. Like, is she dead? Is she in the Matrix? Like, what the hell is? What the hell was that thing in the trailer? Like, I did watch the trailer, by the way.
You did?
Yeah, I did. Like, well, it was there, so I thought, okay, let's just see what's going on. But yeah, I get the idea that Anne Boonchoy is back, and her frog friends are like back in LA or wherever they were to begin with.
Yeah, LA. Yes,
that's the whole concept of season 3, and so I was aware that we were going to get up to this. And obviously, it was also spoiled in True Colors as well. So obviously, yeah. But
sure.
But in regards to everything else that's happened in the show, we don't know. So.
No, I mean, yeah, we don't know. So we will eventually catch up to it. And we even said that as soon as, Amphibia ends its run, which we know that season 3 is going to be its last, then we will talk about it in an episode of Casual Chats.
Definitely.
But in the meanwhile, happy for the fans who are finally going to get it on Disney Plus, but now we just need to finally, wait until, all this stuff is caught up, which, by the way, according to a report that I saw yesterday, November 27th is going to be the mid-season finale. So this is where their end point is going to be. And it's going to be I think we'd mentioned this before. It's going to be a Christmas special. It's going to be a musical, and the music is going to be written by Rebecca Sugar, which all of that is just like win, 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 win. So yeah, I need to catch up with the show just so I can be able to watch that.
And remind everybody what Rebecca Sugar is responsible for.
Steven Universe, the best music and adventure time. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what everyone's excited for. Like the fact that we're going to basically get an adventure, a Steven Universe-esque episode of Amphibia.
Yes, so good.
Mind you, I sometimes ask myself, would they do one for the Owl House? And
no, they will never do it for the Owl House because Dana Terrace hates musicals.
Exactly, yeah. So I think we're not going to get that anytime soon, but
we're never going to get it.
Yeah, but Amphibia, we're definitely getting it. So
yes, and I am happy. I am really, really happy.
Yeah. And finally, there is a preschool game that's come out, which you would think why would we be talking about this, but mind you, we just talked about Disney Junior just before.
Yes.
So it's going to be coming out on Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series X, and also PS4 as well. It is My Friend Peppa Pig, and which to be fair though, Peppa Pig is dominating, the preschool, the attention of the preschoolers pretty much at this point. So the point where basically it's changing their accents in America. From
yes, I remember seeing a report about that where they were saying what was it, like a 4 or 5-year-old girl was watching Peppa Pig and now she speaks with a British accent.
Yeah, and all the Karens in the world are all afraid of the Mexicans coming over the border. No, it's us British changing all your kids' accents from American to British. Yeah, keep drinking your champagne, Karen. Like you want to do some Peppa Pig. The plan is working. It's
Our forefathers didn't, sacrifice their lives to give us independence,
your
only for it to be
forefathers
brought
were
back.
from Britain. Oh man, America's just a massive scam, a massive British scam.
Oh my
But
God.
anyway, going back to Peppa Pig and away from the American Revolution. So the idea of my friend Peppa Pig is that the funny enough though, the reason I find this hilarious is because I'm pretty sure maybe somebody probably looked at South Park: The Stick of Truth and the all the other South Park games where you can build your own character and then have that in the South Park game. I mean, you kind of you're even known as douchebag or dickhead or whatever. And I'm pretty sure, I think maybe they probably got the idea from that and they said, well, what if we did this a bit more innocent and did this with Peppa Pig instead? And took out all the swearing and violence and all the fighting and stuff. So, and just had
and all the references to poop and goth and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So basically, we got my friend Peppa Pig, and to be honest with you, though, it sounds like a pretty good idea for a game, and at least for for the demographic anyway. So you build your own character, you go around with Peppa Pig, you go have some fun. Mind you, the one thing I find interesting about this is that it does look like the show, which is not a difficult thing to do.
No, it's not.
But I mean, I know it's kind of like but imagine, keep this in mind, this isn't Uncharted like we are talking about before. This isn't
I don't expect the
storyline or anything like that.
I don't expect the characters or the voice actors of Peppa Pig doing that, any motion capture, having to wear suits so that they can be able to I don't know, color or plant a garden or whatever that they do.
It'd be hilarious if they did a making and that was the joke. If they did all the mocap for Peppa Pig just falling down and laughing. That'd be hilarious if they did that. But she's just trying to contain herself from laughing right now. She's just a powder keg ready to explode.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, here's the thing. I know that Peppa Pig is really popular in the UK and in the US. And I made that joke saying, well, here's the thing that you guys have in America, in the UK that we don't have in America, is that you have a Peppa themed park. And I was I looked it up and it's wait, according to the Daily Mail, Peppa Pig is going to have a theme park open up in Florida in 2022. And I'm oh,
exactly. Yeah, it's a huge phenomenon that's currently going on right now. And mind you, funny enough, it's this big now and yet no movie. I
mean, that's crazy because freaking Paw Patrol had a movie. They have a stage show. Where are you, Peppa Pig?
I think it's happening. I think now she's getting her own video game. I think it's only just a matter of a moment of time until Peppa Pig gets her own movie.
Yeah. By the way, you were looking up previews of reviews, and I just couldn't help but just bust up laughing. Or this is a game for 3-year-olds, and they're saying it's a cinematic masterpiece, and I just couldn't stop laughing for 2 hours.
Oh wait, hang on a second. I think apparently there was a movie actually made for Peppa Pig. It was called Peppa Pig: My First Cinema Unit. Sorry, Peppa Pig: My First Cinema Experience.
Oh well, we didn't get that here in the US. At least I don't think so.
That sounds more like a tutorial than a movie. But
okay.
Okay. 67% of the people. 4.1 on IMDb. That's not good. Good. So yeah, there was a movie and apparently it was terrible. Well, it's Peppa Pig. What do you expect? Well,
I mean, what kind of story, what kind of deep, complex, tales that you can tell on Peppa Pig? I mean, if you're going to make it fun, then sure, I mean, go all for it.
Babe, don't tempt fate. I really don't want to do a casual chat on this movie. Let's not tempt fate here, I don't think. Okay, anyway, we were looking at the Steam reviews, I think, and a lot of them were very enough, even though they were hilarious, they were positive, I believe. Yeah, very positive right now. So there's one person said, huge open world adventure for you to explore, several side missions, character design is unforgettable, main story is breathtaking, ending impacted my view on the world forever. Oh man. One person said not recommended, it's too hard. Apparently making friends with Peppa Pig is too difficult. Despite the fact that she's like the nicest character that's ever like been brought on television. You know, apparently it's too hard. More positive review here. Game of the Year 2021 confirmed. So we're gonna get My Peppa Pig, My Friend Peppa Pig Game of the Year edition.
Oh my god!
I would actually laugh if they did that. Actually,
Peppa Pig has DLC. Peppa Pig has multiplayer.
Yeah, someone just posted a meme saying, "Oh, you're winning, son."
God.
Okay, one viewer here. Price was a bit steep, but overall good game for young ones. Not such a good game for older people. No,
I mean,
you
duh.
say. Unskippable cutscenes made this a chore and eventually finish. Overall, would buy for kids who are into Peppa Pig. Oh my god!
I want Cat Icarus to do a review of this game. I want him so badly to do it because, he's the one that I see like, talks of Peppa Pig where he absolutely hates it. Now, to be fair, I've never seen it. I don't know the context of it. I mean, I saw like clips of it like on TV or on like online and stuff like that. But, him talking about like, they have bad morals. And, he even talked about the DS game that came out of it. I think there was like even a magazine and a CD or something. So it's like really, really popular. So I want him to do a freaking let's play of this game. I will watch it.
Okay, one of the review here. An absolutely phenomenal game. Peppa Pig's Friends is a complex and intriguing character, but also the silent type. Regardless of what character you may create, a guaranteed rewarding playing experience, akin to Skyrim's Dragonborn or Half-Life's Gordon Freeman.
Oh my god. It's amazing. Oh. Beautiful. You know what? I'm so tempted of you buying this game so you can play it with your niece.
You know what? I think that's coming. I think maybe.
Yes.
I don't know. Let's have a look. One person's just written bacon as like their review.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's Cat Icarus.
Recommended. Oops, wrong game. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to look for other ones now. Why has God forsaken me? Okay. I thought that guy's having a problem.
Jeez, okay.
Oh, there's a really bad review here, and it's pretty detailed as well.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. First off, I want to say they nailed the graphics. It looks actually like an episode of Peppa Pig, but oh my god, there is so much bad with this game. First off, the voice actors sound like they're 20 years older than they should be in the cartoon. Oh, interesting.
That's interesting because they always change Peppa Pig's voice. So, I mean, the person who has been voicing her for like 13 years, Harley Bird, she's no longer the voice of it. She stepped down last year, and now.
Oh yeah, well, it's a situation we have with the Arnolds. Like we had like 5 different voice actors for Arnold.
Exactly, yeah. And so, now Peppa Pig's currently voiced by a 10-year-old. So,
yeah,
okay,
that doesn't surprise
continue.
me. Yeah,
continue.
The cutscenes are unskippable, which sucks. Whenever there's a 5-minute cutscene that plays a 5-minute cutscene.
Jeez.
And you can't skip it. I mean, like, I get it with Metal Gear Solid, like, that's part of the story. Like, a whole, a cutscene that goes over like, hours on end. You probably eat your dinner whilst you're watching it. But but at the same time, like, 5-minute cutscenes in a Peppa Pig game, I don't think so.
No, no, that doesn't sound right. Remember, this is not an episode of a show. It's a video game. You play it.
Yeah. Which sucks because you have to go through them to go to where you literally want to go, but you can't do anything until this goes 5 minutes times. Sorry, it's just a tirade on 5-minute cutscenes. Also, the half of the game, Peppa tells you to go to Grandpa's house, even though you did a quest there. Speaking of quest, at one of the Grandpa's house, one of the only ones that he tells you to go, I had to look up a guide to. He had to look up a guide to find out what to do with one of the quests because he didn't know where to go. Oh, I mean, for a game that should be for preschoolers, that should you should make it as simple as possible. Where you don't need a guide to get. That's pretty bad, actually.
That is really bad. Now, the whole Metroid Dread thing, yes, you need a guide. I mean, at least if you're really, really lost. But for Peppa Pig, no.
Yeah. Definitely not worth $40. Buy Bud Snacks instead. I don't know
what.
Snacks. Bud Snacks is
BUTT?
No, Bug Snacks. It's a BUGSNAX.
Bug Snack. Oh, I know what that game is. It's an indie game where you get to play as insects. It's kind of like kind of like Super Mario 64 or Banjo-Kazooie, kind of like one of those 3D platformers. I've heard about that game.
Yeah. Well, that is our show. So yeah, have fun playing Peppa Pig if you're gonna buy it. But,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, good grief. I could see this. If I was still doing Aaron Plays, I could probably do it like for an April Fool's Day episode. But I'm not going to pay 35. I'm not going to pay 35, 40 pounds for it. That's a pretty that's even more expensive than some of our other games that are actually out there at the minute. Which are pretty good. So I think if I was gonna get it for a joke, I'd have to wait for it to get to like $5 or something like that. Something where it's gonna be affordable. So
okay.
Cool. All right, everybody. Well, that's our show. So
all right. Well, thank you so much for listening, or if you're watching this, thank you so much for watching.
Yeah. And by the way, Patricia's going to be putting this up on the Old School Lane channel just for now. And eventually we're going to get our own Aaron Patricia channel going. But just for then, we're going to just go to Old School Lane if you want to watch us. So
yes.
Yeah. And if you want to listen to us, then go on Anchor.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. Take care, everybody. Have a good week. And we'll see you next week. So take care.
All right.
Bye-bye for now.
See you, everyone.